Hey, everybody. Welcome into the Fantasy Addicts Fantasy Football Podcast. We are streaming live on Twitch.
We'll do it live.
We are. Another thing we are doing live tonight is a fantasy redraft, mock draft, the way too early 2021
and
half-point PPR.
And it's a community night.
And
we got some viewers in here helping us do this mock draft. We got 4 open slots, but that's right. The computer can deal with those spots.
Yep, we appreciate you. It's nice to have the computer throwing some curveballs in there.
Absolutely.
So we're ready to get it going. Yeah.
You ready to let the dogs out?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Sleeping Giant with the first overall
All right,
pick.
so let me start the draft here.
If Jimmy G stays put, personally, I would take Kittle 3rd or 4th round.
All right.
I'm not a big fan of Jimmy G, but
so let's see if again we got a little report in the pregame here. So if you joined us live on Twitch, there's a little bonus content. If you're watching us on YouTube,
for sure,
little pre-show banter.
Yeah, a little news.
You can jump into our Discord. We posted the link to this draft early, so if you want to pick your spot, just hop in that Discord. We'll throw those links in there before we draft.
Yeah.
But yeah, the thing we're talking about is will Travis Kelce go at the 1-1?
Yeah, I'm gonna get one. A show.
We'll find out really quick here.
We'll see if it's real life or if it's just a bluff. So here we go.
If it's just fantasy.
Are you sure you want to start the draft?
Let's start it. Let's go.
Oh, it's happening.
All right. So
I'm tilting.
we got 5-minute rounds on, but I think it'll go faster. Christian McCaffrey going 1-1. Any surprise?
As he should. Nope.
No surprise here.
Those injuries shouldn't linger. The only worry for me would be is if he gets traded to the Texans. Maybe he's out of the 1-1 conversation down to the second pick. But
right, I could see that. Bambo on the clock now. When we did our mock draft earlier, I think the first 6 picks were all running backs. If I remember that correctly.
Yeah, I've done a couple mocks on a couple different platforms, and it's been pretty running back heavy. I think people have it in their heads of this year where they were scrambling, again, playing Jeff Wilson and playing Gallman, playing McKissick. And some of those guys, they were usable, but you see these running backs and you think, oh, this guy's going to be healthy. Like, I wish so badly my team had these guys on them last year.
Yeah. Pocket already flaming Bambo for taking too long here, telling him to take Aaron Rodgers at the second overall.
The top scoring quarterback in fantasy this year.
Saquon Barkley, numero 2.
You blew it!
There was some fear around Saquon, right?
Yeah, so I'm out on Saquon, but no, I get that pick. A lot of people, when you're looking at the board, especially if Saquon comes out, has a good camp, he's going to be, a lot of people would be recommending taking him there. People were recommending taking him there this year, though, and he played 2 poor games that he was in against good teams, and then went down for the season. But yeah, when he's good, he's good. But
is what it is.
I think there are a lot of concerns, and really, again, with Saquon, if he fell to the 3rd round, I'd be crazy about getting Saquon. But I just think that taking him at the second pick, there's so many kind of risky
Giants stink and have no O-line.
Well, that's a great point.
They got to invest in something this offseason. I feel like they
are
stuck
back?
with Daniel Jones for now. Saquon, you don't want to get rid of. So really, offensive line, tight end. Is Ingram coming back?
Yeah, I think Evan Ingram is a guy that they could trade away. He's still on contract. I like him. He had a lot of targets this year. Couldn't do a lot with him. I think that Daniel Jones is one of their big problems. Danny Dimes turning it over.
Yeah. Don't slander Danny Dimes now, Redmond. Already getting flustered about it.
Are you a Eagles fan?
I think Danny Dimes had like one of the most accurate passer ratings when going 20 plus yards downfield this year.
Yeah, there are running backs that get benched for fumbling the ball once in a game, and Danny do it 3 or 4 times and still be out there. So
he does turn the ball over a lot.
It hurts your team. It hurts
All
your
right,
team.
Greg Nordstrom picking here 3rd, taking his time. Not sure which running back to go with. He's got to go running back here, right, at 3?
Again, there are some, Davante Adams, if you have him on your team, if he wants to get Travis Kelce, he's going to have to get there before you and Marcy. But, at this point, I would.
Travis. So I got Travis earlier at like 2.6.
Yeah, so that was also not with our community members who we've been hyping up Travis Kelce and everyone's screaming that they're going to take him with the 1-1 all year.
That's true. All right, we're going to give Greg here like 20 more seconds and we're auto-drafting. Can you auto-draft him on there?
Yeah, I can.
Okay. We may get to that point here if Greg doesn't join us.
I'll shoot him a text real quick. But all right, who do you think he's going to pick?
I think he'd probably go Dalvin Cook or Derek. I mean, it's got to be.
Yeah, you think it's between those guys?
It's got to be.
Alvin's not in there for you. Alvin Kamara?
With no Breeze, I'm worried. Not like super worried, but 1-3, I'm worried. So, yeah, there's other people I'd like there first. Okay, he's had enough time. Why don't you can text him, but why don't you auto-draft him here for this?
All right, I'll draft for him here. Who are we going to take for him, though? We give him
let's take
Alan Lazard? Is that where we're going?
Yeah, I think that sounds right. Aaron Rodgers.
There you go. Oh, they would love it.
No, just give him Derrick Henry or Cook and call it a day.
All right, we'll give him Cook.
Okay, sounds good.
So now I am on the board, and you know who I want to take? Derrick Henry.
Go figure.
So
didn't see that coming.
No, Derrick Henry, it's a half PPR, so that's worth keeping in mind because he's not a guy that catches the ball a lot. But he ran for over 2,000 yards in the NFL.
Honestly,
he's a monster. The offense runs through him.
If any one of these 4 players went 1-1, I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, this top 4 order, even with Alvin, the top 5 order can be, cut it any way you want it.
That I would agree. I think that Alvin Kamara is the next guy that you would put in that conversation. There are question marks with what's going to happen with his quarterback. It did hurt him when Drew Brees went out for a while and they put Taysom Hill in as the quarterback.
Right.
That I think is everyone's main concern with him right now. But that you'll definitely know that by the time you're doing your actual draft. All
right, Marcio here at 1-6. Alvin Kamara goes 1-5, kind of as expected. That's kind of been chalk so far.
Good pick.
Let's see. It was either Saquon or Henry for me, says Bambo. I get it. I like Saquon.
Marcy, Travis is staring at you.
I know. Can she commit?
So shiny.
I'd take the one with 2 healthy knees and a good O-line personally, it says Pocket. Well, Pocket, you'll get to decide who you want to take at 112.
Oh,
and he gets to go back-to-back. The back-to-backer at 112.
It's Tom Brady, right?
2-1. Probably Tom Brady and Gronk. I mean,
they come together now.
The Patriots fan got
the 2-for-1 pick.
Yeah, you can't.
like it.
You can't underhype it. Marcio taking her sweet time, really weighing her options.
You go ahead, girl.
Really weighing her options.
You don't want to blow this one.
What's your favorite spot to pick from? Says Redman.
So that depends for me year to year. Right now, if you can get Christian and he's healthy, the 1-1 just you feel like you look at your team. Christian McCaffrey's on there, fabulous. And maybe you can snag like Kelsey with your next pick. Yeah. Probably not, but
I don't think this one really varies too far from what my normal answer would be. Is I want one of the first 2 picks or one of the last 2 picks. I think that's kind of going to be my bread and butter. I want 1-1-1-2 or the last 2. So at the turn, you at least get 2 picks throughout the draft and all your other spots.
Yeah, I would say kind of depending on if Taysom Hill comes back, maybe not Kamara, but I like having one of those first 5 because you'll get one of these stud running backs. That's where I want to be. If you miss out on these guys, there's some other good running backs, but you're kind of in that conversation of like, man, do I take Kelsey? Do I take one of these top wide receivers? All
right, we're going to auto draft Marcy at the 3-minute mark. So you got 10 seconds, Marcy, to get in here.
Oh, I know who she's taking.
Get your pick in. All right, I'm gonna ping her in the Discord, see where she's at.
Busy modding, probably.
All right, so she has messaged. Pocket says first or second or last or second to last. I agree. First 2 or last 2. So then you can get more picks at the turn. So I'm in with that.
Am I going for her?
Yeah. Why don't you do it? There it is.
Bam. All right. I did it for her.
Never lucky.
One of us had to be brave.
Pocket. She must have a hot date. If she does, we're rooting for her. Good for her.
Absolutely.
So this is an interesting spot here. 1-8, the top tight end, wide receiver, and all the other 5 running backs are gone. So I'm kind of in that next tier of player. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah. Depends on what you believe about some of those other wide receivers. I know that there are a couple guys like that Nick likes a lot. So you got your, Justin Jefferson. Are you gonna, take the chance? You can try to get him to fall back to you. I don't know. Yeah. I know how you like him.
Well, I get to pick again before any of you besides Pocket. So take Joe Mixon. Maybe later. But for now, I believe in Jonathan Taylor. I don't think Wentz is going to be worse than Phillip Rivers. So I think I'm going to just smash a subscribe and go JT here at 1-8.
Oh, and then we get some quick ones coming off from the computer. So we got Tyreek Hill. So that'd be another wide receiver. He had a lot more consistency this year, like Tyreek playing on a good offense with Patty Mahomes. Nick Chubb, running back for the Browns, had a good year, a lot of rushing yards, had a little bit of an injury, still finished very well.
I like Nick Chubb. I'm not scared of Nick Chubb at all.
Yeah, again, Kareem Hunt didn't overtake him. That's the thing, though, that you still, a little bit in the back of your head, you're worried about Hunt being there. A little bit, you're kind of worried about him not getting a lot of passing work. But Nick Chubb breaks off those big plays. He was great this year.
He's still the best, I think, pure running back in the league. The best runner.
After that, we got Ezekiel Elliott. So, again, I'm concerned about Ezekiel Elliott. I thought he looked bad at the end of the year there. I thought Pollard looked good. The Cowboys, they have a lot of issues every year.
Right. All right, so Pocket going Josh Jacobs, DeAndre Swift at the 112-2-1. I think that's slightly surprising. Again, these could be 2 monster picks, or they could be 2 huge, bluffs. I mean, they can be bad.
I was going back and looking over Josh Jacobs' stats. One thing you like about him, of the Raiders, he's really the guy right now. You don't expect them to take another high-level running back or sign somebody in free agency. He's the guy. They want to give him the work. They didn't give him a lot of passing work, but that could always increase a little bit. He's got the skills. They just haven't used him in that way.
Right.
But Josh Jacobs, if you looked at his numbers, he had that one big game at the beginning of the season. The rest of the year, there were some definite drops. There were some games under 10 points that worry you. DeAndre Swift, the Lions, everybody's concerned about the Lions offense. They got a new quarterback, but if the wide receivers take off, I've seen some things that they might franchise Kenny G. But if a lot of the passing work could go through Swift because he's got good hands as well. He's a talented running back. Joe Mixon next.
See Joe Mixon, an injury. James Robinson, Aaron Jones. We don't know his landing spot yet, but I think Aaron Jones could go a lot earlier depending on the location.
Yeah, and all the landing spots that I've heard rumors about, sound pretty good. My big worry would be with the Jets, but if he goes to Miami, which is one we heard about today, I like that a lot. If he is on the 49ers, he's going to be splitting with a couple guys, but I think he could be used very well there. He could be very efficient.
So I want to get
back to the Packers.
I want to get your opinion on what's going on right now. So I'm up to pick. I got a couple minutes
you got
left.
Some time.
But look at what we have right now. So far, only 1, 2, 3. There's only 3 non-running backs that have been picked so far. So do I?
And one might not have if I didn't give him to Mars.
So do I go running back since there's a limited remaining, or do I go wide receiver knowing there's probably going to be maybe a run on wide receiver here as we come up? Because we got a whole bunch of people that went running back first and are going to need wide receiver. So
Murdog saw the JT pick coming a mile away. That's good. I'm glad you've been watching the show, listening to Nick's habits here.
Yeah.
But
so here's the thing. I think there's going to be a run on wide receiver here, but
Andre Hopkins could go.
I still want to get my other running back. So I'm actually going to go a little unconventional. I'm going Cam Akers here. So JT, Cam Akers, 2 sophomores. I think Cam Akers with Stafford there is just going to get a ton of running work. I think they believe in him. I think he's going to be the bell cow there. So we'll have to wait and see. But I really do believe in Cam Akers. What do you think?
Yeah, I like Akers a lot. I might have taken him ahead of Swift just because I think that although his line's not very good either, they're going with a new quarterback. I just think that the Rams as a whole are a more competent team. It's going to have better offensive opportunity. All
right, we're going to give Marcio till the 4-minute mark. We're going to rush her out. Murdog, here goes Nuke. I waited. DeAndre Hopkins goes right after me at the 1. Is that the 6 slot? 7? 2-7. So pocket pool. Swift catches more passes. It's 0.5 PPR. True, it is 0.5 PPR. Full PPR, I think, changes things slightly, but really not a whole lot, I think, in this scenario. Redmond says, I never felt satisfied starting Jacobs on a week-to-week basis. I think you kind of fell into that trap of the numbers don't necessarily wow you, but he's super productive. And
you just had a lot of games where he hurt you. And that's kind of, so you'd have a game where he comes out and gets 8 points.
There's a lot of games he was hurt.
And then it's hard to start him again because, man, he just had a bad game. So just the inconsistency of his big games. He only had that one real monster game.
Marcio says she's going, but she's not going. Okay, there she goes. Antonio Gibson.
Okay, that's a good pick.
For sure.
I was actually going to give her a different running back right there.
Okay. So look at this. So I was worried about a wide receiver run coming, and it looks like a lot of running backs still going off.
Yep. So again, Antonio Gibson, good choice. I think that he's got a lot of potential to take a step forward. J.K. Dobbins, another rookie that I like. Ingram's out of town, so he should get a little concerned about his passing usage. I don't think that the Ravens are going to throw him the ball a lot. Lamar doesn't like to throw it to guys, but he's going to get a lot of touchdowns.
We haven't really come up to it yet since we're so early, but we see JT, we see J.K. Dobbins, Antonio Gibson, Cam Akers, James Robinson, and DeAndre Swift. We have 6 sophomores already off the board. We're not even done with the second round. Are we sleeping on 2021 rookies? I mean, JT, if we could redraft last year, JT and Swift and these guys would go
it's easy to forget,
in the top 3 rounds.
It's easy to forget how these guys all struggled through the first half of the year. So Jonathan Taylor, people were very concerned about. I know that you were an owner. Cam Akers had an injury at the start of the year.
Marcio, thank you very much for the subscription. We know you're here now.
All right. We appreciate it.
Sorry to cut you off, but go ahead.
So, again, I'm on the clock here. I got a little bit of time. But, yeah, I think that, again, for the back half of the year, great. Going into next year, because you saw kind of that potential at the back half, you saw them starting to take over the job. All in on them. I like them a lot.
Is that because of COVID, or you think that's just how the running back landscape kind of
I think that's how the running back landscape is, because it takes them a little while to establish themselves. They got a little bit of loyalty to the veterans and things like that. They got to learn the offense. You might see it bump up a little bit a time, where it doesn't take quite as long if you have a full preseason, if you get some of those preseason games. But I think that's kind of what I'm looking for. I'm looking for those guys that had a big name. The hype was real. They didn't, maybe they get a little bit of an injury. Maybe they get, another guy that's a veteran that's there. It's getting a little more time than you hope for. I'm trying to snag those guys in trades or off the waivers halfway through the season.
Gotcha.
All right, my pick. So I'm stalling.
Take your pick. I'm going to talk about pocket.
Let's keep the running back train going. I'm going to go with Austin Eckler. So the running back for the Los Angeles Chargers. I like Herbert there. Their offensive line's not great, but they throw him the ball. Herbert likes to hyper target the guys that are good on his team, which you imagine would be your first piece of advice to a young quarterback. Oh, just throw it to Keenan Allen and then just throw it to Austin Eckler. Just throw it to those guys. They're very good at football.
They'll take care of you. And I think that leads into what Paco was saying here, that Anthony Lynn, who is now Detroit's offensive coordinator, likes that check down running back, likes to pass the ball to the running back. So we could see that work in Detroit's game plan a little bit more with Swift being that receiving back. But Austin Eckler is the OG receiving back for, I guess not the OG.
Oh, she says I made her take Travis because I gave you what you want. Like you might not.
Yeah. Just stole it right from my.
Maybe not the pick you were going to make, but the pick you needed.
Okay, coming up. There it is. After Eckler, we got George Kittle going in the second round to
so I think that Kittle could very likely go in the second round. I think that he could be a steal a little bit.
Yeah, followed by a mistake of Miles Sanders to Bambo. Go figure. Packer fans
we have
a
no
Packer
Eagles
fan.
policy. I don't know.
I know. They just didn't get the memo, apparently.
But again, he could bounce back. He's still kind of the only game in town. We'll see what happens with their running back room, but it's still him and Boston Scott right now.
Bambo said they're still haunted by the Jacobs. I'm not playing. Wait, I'm playing.
I recall that. I suffered through it with you live on air if you were there. But
yep,
I'm salty. If he had played better, I think it'd be
hilarious.
I would fully forgive him. But I went back and I had a chance to trade for him in Dynasty, and I was like, I don't know that I want to give up that much for Jacobs. With all the opportunities he's had, if you put a number of other running backs, if you put any of those sophomore running backs we talked about that going into this year in that spot, I think they would have massively better numbers.
Right.
He's always battling injury. He's not getting the passing work that you hope for.
All right. Let's see here. Sleeping Giant looks like you get the turn here, so you get to make 2 back-to-back picks. A lot of wide receivers left. DK Metcalf going off the board here to Sleeping Giant. So CMC, DK Metcalf starting a pretty good core team there.
Good start.
So
I like it.
What double up player in the first 2 rounds do you like so far? What team makeup do you would you like to?
Honestly, Greg at the 1-3 with Dalvin Cook and George Kittle. If those guys come out, he could have the number 1 or 2 running back and wide receiver on the year right there, which is a good start.
Yeah, I think there's a good couple combos up here. Honestly, I know Pocket's going to hate it. I know you hate it, but Zeke and Joe Mixon here at the end, that could be huge.
Washed, both of them. Injured,
I knew
washed,
you'd hate it. I knew you'd hate it.
No thanks. New hotness.
So CH coming off the board now for Sleeping Giant at the turn here into the third round.
That's another one that the community's kind of split whether he's going to take a step forward and be great this year or if he's just, you saw kind of the ceiling.
There could be a huge payoff here.
I agree. We talked about Williams coming back from opted out for COVID this year. I think that he's actually going to come back and get more play than people realize, but I could be wrong.
Skull Crusher, maybe Lol. This is way different than last year. Last year, Mahomes and Jackson were usually gone by now.
I think people learned their lesson a little bit.
I think people are getting smarter.
Yeah, because you got a little bit burned taking them so high, and then they didn't kind of produce and you saw a lot of guys that were taken very late have very good years.
Redmond, I think, brings up a very valid point here that I noticed just before. Julio being 20 spots ahead of Calvin Ridley in fantasy football.
Absurd.
Negligence in just terms of ranking on Sleeper. I agree. I saw Julio Jones up here as the 19th best player.
Wrong.
Not far behind Michael Thomas and ahead of Mike Evans,
news.
Godwin, Adam Thielen, Allen Robinson. I mean, there's some good names. Calvin Ridley, Justin Jefferson. I mean, there's a lot of good names on here that I don't know if I'm not ranking Julio above those guys.
No, I'm concerned with Julio. He's getting up there in age. He's one of the older kind of, 33, 34 range. Coming off an injury, missed time. Calvin Ridley's coming on strong.
Actually, Greg, in our draft, I sent him a offer in Dynasty.
If you follow the Matt,
he won't accept it.
If you follow the Matt Ryan rule, it's that he's going to have a bad year. But he just had a bad year, so does it all reset? All right, I am on the board.
Diggs round 3. What do you think? I love Diggs there. I was going to take him here if you didn't, if he made it to me. So I like Diggs. I think he's going to have. I mean, you took him let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. You took him as the fifth wide receiver. I think he's probably a top 5 wide receiver, no problem. Just the amount of work that he's going to get, I think he's going to finish high.
All right, so I'm going to reach a little bit here, and I'm going to take my boy. First wide receiver for my team, Calvin Ridley, had a great year this year, young. I think that a lot of things that went well for him this year are still going to be kind of the same situation next year.
When we did this draft earlier, did you find yourself looking a little bit deeper to find your picks even early on?
Yeah.
Because there was guys that I was just completely writing off. And I'm like, I don't care. I just rather have this guy.
When you do the way too early drafts, they still haven't quite hammered out all of their data as far as where guys are going. The rookies, when you do it early, the rookies always be way too low. They'll go much higher in the actual draft.
Right.
Some of these guys, yeah, I think that as the buzz gets going, as people, I believe how the apps, most of them do it is they just have people doing mock drafts like this and they kind of compile all the data
over time.
So you'll get people that are just kind of doing it for fun. Maybe they just do the first 4 or 5 rounds.
But you would think, unless it's including like bot data in this, I feel like the rankings are still a little off. But
yeah, but to each their own. And again, I think that this one, as far as the ones I've been doing, is better than some of the other apps.
Right. So, yeah, no, I like your team so far. Derrick Henry, Austin Eckler, Calvin Ridley. Austin Eckler could pick up right where he left off before his injury last year and be a 20 points per game kind of guy.
Yeah, and he's another guy that we got to see the other running backs on his team, and none of them scare you that they're going to get a lot of work. They didn't look that good when they were given opportunity. Kelly was bad. Justin Jefferson's always hurt.
All right, we have our first rookie off the board, Najee Harris, going right in the middle of the 3rd round. I think that's slightly surprising with a couple of the wide receiver names are still up there, but I definitely think these wide receivers are tiered down from the ones we just listed off. I think Devontae, Tyreek, Hopkins, Metcalf, Diggs, Brown, Ridley, I think they're all valid top teners. We get into Michael Thomas, a lot of question marks. Julio Jones, we talked about the question marks. Mike Evans, I don't know why there's question marks, but he just doesn't seem to have the top end points that he had a few years ago, and just seems like he's going to get you 1,000. He's going to get you 10 touchdowns, and you're just going to have to deal with, the 15, 18 points a week, which I'm actually okay with that. I don't know. I'm just a little surprised that we're seeing a rookie go off, but it is a running back, and they are valuable.
I think I misspoke. I think you said Justin Jefferson. I meant Justin Jackson, the running back
for
the Chargers. Just clear that up before they get at me in the comments.
Banjo, don't love CEH there, but the RBs flew. Yeah, CEH making the turn. I think they just looked at the next list of running backs, and I think I can pull it up here. Yeah, Chris Carson, Kenyon Drake, Travis Etienne, David Johnson. I mean, you got some rough running backs here coming up next, but I think Javonte Williams could make a name for himself depending on location. Travis Etienne could make a name for himself depending on location. Leonard Fournette, I don't think it's guaranteed that he's back with the Buccaneers.
Yeah, but the next guy on the list is a guy that'll go higher in the actual draft. David Montgomery's down there, so
and he's listed low in my opinion, don't you think?
Yeah, especially with the way that he finished the year, he should have all the opportunity. You don't predict that the Bears are going to bring in any running back, even though I'd love to see him get rid of Cohen and bring in somebody who could actually kind of do the same thing that David Montgomery does.
All right.
Adam Thielen going off the board. So that's interesting. Adam Thielen had a very good year, ton of touchdowns. He's also getting up there in age. I think he'll be 32 when the season goes. Michael Thomas at 3.7. That one is one that I glanced at. I'm like, man, do I take the chance on Michael Thomas returning to greatness? I know you were out on him this year.
I am, and that's kind of where I'm in a rough spot here now.
Nick's best call before the season was that Michael Thomas wasn't going to be good.
I'm actually going to go...
Did you know he had 0 red zone targets? I'm sorry, end zone targets.
Yeah, no, it doesn't.
Unbelievable.
Surprise me. Marcio, my stuff is behind. Just close the app and reopen it. You'll be fine. I have to take my guy here. I don't love Godwin with the Buccaneers. Mike Evans, again, I think he's hamstrung with Godwin being there, Antonio Brown being there, so that scares me still. Julio, we talked about the worries there. I don't want to take quarterback yet, even though I can get one of the premium quarterbacks, and the running backs are brutal. Allen Robinson, with the Bears, I think he could be solid, but I think if he goes to anywhere valuable, I'm taking Allen Robinson here. But since I don't know his spot, I'm going to go ahead and take Justin Jefferson and go a little safe. I know
we know.
I think it's a valid pick, too.
You know, I've seen every show we've done.
Have you?
Live.
I've been here for every show we've done. Math checks out.
Everyone sucks.
It
all sucks.
Yeah. No, there's only about 8 players I like in all of fantasy.
Yes,
football.
Mr. Sherman. Everything stinks.
All right, Kenny Galladay going off right afterwards. Lamar Jackson, first quarterback, gone. Mike Evans, gone. Julio Jones.
Look at the savvy veteran here, Banjo. If Evans didn't have the same buy as CMC, I probably would have doubled up on wide receiver. So, again, just, being aware of those buys. I don't pay too much attention to it. If you can stack like 3 of your studs that all have buys at the same time and just punt a week, that's not the worst. But people do it different ways.
All right, so here at the turn, actually a great pick here. If I would have seen him higher on the list, I probably would have taken Keenan Allen here over Justin Jefferson. But Pocket with a great look a little bit deeper down the list. I like Keenan Allen.
I think
he's going to be just a target monster with Herbert.
10+ targets in multiple games. Herbert likes him a lot. Herbert looked good.
How much you want to bet Pocket Pool's going to try and sneak Herbert on his roster a little bit later in this draft?
Herbert's another one that if you have gone through and looked at the rankings, he is going a little bit lower than I think he'll go in the actual draft.
What do you finish on the season? Like quarterback 7?
Set rookie records, but Baker set rookie records the year before that, and then he came out and wasn't great. Right. So it doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be all sunshine.
So after that, Patty Mahomes, Allen Robinson, Chris Godwin, I am back up.
So we got our first quarterback off the board. Or no, I'm sorry. We had Lamar Jackson go at the 310. So Patty goes at 4-2. Lamar could have a bounce back here. He was starting to show out a little bit better at the end of the year. But, I think that just there are a lot of great quarterbacks that as we get late in the draft, you're going to be pretty comfortable with.
I agree. I'm actually going to go a little off campus here.
Boy.
A little against tradition. I'm just going to take...
Kicker?
No, Darren Waller.
The Walrus. All right.
I'm going to take Darren Waller here. I really don't like the wide receiver options here. Wide receivers have been flying right now. I think people are going to take a pause on them and start going a different direction. Actually, a lot of running backs went off the board here in the first 5 or 6 picks early, so we could still see a run on wide receiver. But I don't think there's a whole lot of differential between the next, 10, 15 wide receivers. So I'm going to wait. I'm going to take Darren Waller, secure my tight end spot, and hold it. Let's see here. Pocket. I was hoping Jefferson would slide to me at the turn. I think Keenan Allen's a great pick, though. Julio Jones, I'd rather have Jefferson than Julio Jones, obviously, but I think your picks are great. I think that's fine. Time's ticking, says Warwick. I know. We're cranking through these. Thanks for coming in, by the way. Let's see here. Marcio on the clock again. Let's see if she's got her timing figured out now.
Young Ho Koo, is that the pick that's coming in right here?
Is that fourth? Russell Wilson.
Scroll down to find.
Did you auto draft? Was this a mistake? Russell Wilson going on?
Gotta find the Young
fourth
Ho.
round. I think it's a little early for Russ, don't you think?
He had a great start of the year, and then it just faded. If he can recapture that, then you're excited. Going to have a new offensive coordinator this year. Maybe they let him cook. Huh?
Is our show path basically take him early and trade him after week 5?
I think that if you had done it this year, he would have paid off for you. But
For sure.
All right, so we got Jared on the clock. Let's see what comes out.
Russell, 8-week Wilson. Exactly. All right.
A lot of value to be had in these the fourth round.
So Jared's up now. Went 3 back-to-back running backs.
So that was one that I was looking at. I actually like Amari. I think, especially if Dak comes back, he had a good consistency this year. Got a lot of touchdowns.
Marcio's feeling a lot of pressure here. Didn't take that pick super seriously, and she said she did no homework.
Unlimited. All right, get it.
Man, oh man. All right, Skull Crusher, you are up now. 2 running backs.
You blew it. That was for Marcy.
2 running backs, wide receiver. You going to secure your second wide receiver? Ooh.
No, we're going running back heavy to start. I just don't want to be that guy who I was.
You don't want to be holding the bag?
Looking at Zach Moss all year as my only option. Like, well, is there anybody on the waiver better than Zach Moss?
I get it. I
want some running backs in this draft.
For sure. And like we mentioned before, wide receivers deep. What did we say the stat was? I think if you took wide receiver 7 versus wide receiver like 36, there was only like a 3 or 4 point. No, 24, wide receiver 24. So the last wide receiver 2 versus like the middle of first round wide receiver, there's only like a 2 points per week difference. Travis Etienne, our second rookie coming off the board here to Greg, our newest dynasty member, already buying into the rookies.
Yeah, it made 100 more trades than the previous owner that had that team. So he's been rebuilding. He's picked up 2 rookies that didn't fully break out, but Higgins, a lot of people like him as being a breakout this year for the Cincinnati Bengals. And
I like D. Higgins too.
Mims on the Jets because their quarterback situation could change. Their coaching staff has changed already. So
Bambo calling you a homer in here for the Dave Montgomery pick.
Yeah, I think just David Montgomery, I want to say in our dynasty format, he finishes the running back 4 on the year. I think people are you just, if maybe your team wasn't competing, you stopped paying attention, you just got sour on the Bears because you watched us complain about them. But Dave Montgomery actually had a really solid year.
Absolutely.
And I think, I just don't see people taking the work away.
This may be controversial, says Bambo. Cooper Kupp.
All right, Cooper Kupp. I don't think that's controversial. He's got a new quarterback. So
I get it.
If you believe in Stafford, again, if you're taking him in this point, he could get a lot more touchdowns. I think Cooper Kupp is a good pick, actually.
Would you agree with me that you'll take, if presented the opportunity, you take the cheaper option between Cooper Kupp and Robert Woods?
Yeah, and one thing that worries me,
I don't know if there's a deciding factor between them.
I was expecting both of them to have a lot more production this year with Brandon Cooks moving on and just kind of be a two-man show. They still use Josh Reynolds, who is a free agent right now, so we'll see if he takes off. They got Jamar Jefferson.
That offense struggled at times, too. They had a few games where they just didn't show up at all.
Is that right? I might have misspoke on the rookie that they've got. It's
Van Jefferson?
Van Jefferson.
Yeah. Scary Terry going here, the last pick of the fourth. I was hoping he'd last to me. I figured he wouldn't, but I think people are sleeping on Terry McLaurin.
Well, people are waiting to see what happens with Washington's quarterback room and how that looks. But again, there's a likelihood that they bring in another wide receiver. One of the big things that was great for Terry is he got all the passing work. Like, I watched the game, and they were only throwing it to Terry, and maybe they'll throw it to Logan Thomas. But
okay, so Robert Woods going next. So sleeping giant out. Christian McCaffrey, Clyde Edwards is his running backs, and then DK Metcalf, Scary Terry, and Robert Woods is his wide receivers. I like this team. It's a pretty solid core. I think there's some question marks around Clyde still. There's some question marks around DK, just because he had, a 3 or 4 game stretch there where he kind of disappeared. And Robert Woods, we don't know how Stafford's going to pan out. We don't know if Kupp's going to be the guy, Woods going to be the guy, or if it's going to be a pretty even split out.
Yeah, I could see it being almost exactly the same as it was this year for Woods and Kupp, but
Bambo, another controversial one coming.
All right.
Odell Beckham, interesting.
We need more dogs.
Interesting.
Maybe if he can get even kind of a fraction of his best self, but
it's not the worst.
I'm worried about him. I don't think that he's a great fit on that offense, even though, he's had.
Has he proved to be anything in the Cleveland Browns offense? Has he proven to be, okay, if he's healthy, he's a wide receiver too? Like, I don't even know if I believe in that.
Greg snaked the guy I wanted, DJ Moore,
wide receiver
action for the Panthers. And if you get him in a draft like this late and all of a sudden Deshaun Watson shows up as the quarterback, you're like, jackpot.
Oh, my. Hopefully we'll know a lot earlier before the draft if Deshaun Watson's going to be on the move. So I think, I'm not scared to tell us. We got Tyler Boyd here late on the wide receiver list, CeeDee Lamb late here on the wide receiver list, Deontay Johnson, Deebo Samuel. There's still a lot of wide receivers. Jerry Jeudy, I think, could provide some value.
All right, so I reached for a tight end. I didn't want to miss out on Mark Andrews. He didn't have as great a year as people were hoping for this year. I think that he's going to have a better season next year. If they can bring in another guy that's more of a kind of outside threat or an intermediate target, I think that's going to free up Andrews underneath. I think he's going to have more touchdowns this coming year, and I think he's probably the last tight end that you can just plug and play and feel good about.
Right.
When we were doing the drafts earlier, TJ Hawkinson is a guy that they have ranked lower than where he'll go in the actual draft. I do like Hawkinson going forward this year. Goff will use the tight ends. He doesn't love them, but he'll use them. I think that, especially if their wide receivers take off, he could be one of the primary targets on that team. He's got good talent, had a good year.
If Galladay goes somewhere else and they don't re-sign Marvin Jones, Quintus Cephas, I don't know if he's the one.
Yeah, I think that they'll actually franchise Kenny Galladay. I think that Marvin Jones will be out. They've got Quintus Cephas, who he's okay, but I don't think he's not going to demand the targets.
I'm interested to see what he does as the 2 there, if he is the 2, but I don't think I'm putting too much stock in.
And the Lions' new coach was formerly a tight ends coach, so you brought that up on another episode. I like that little tidbit.
I like it.
Jared takes a quarterback, Deshaun Watson. Who knows where he'll land, but
it's got to be somewhere good.
Hey,
I would think.
So you wasted your 5th round pick on a guy who sits out the season. Worst things have happened, right?
Disappointed!
It's not a bad point to make, though.
That's the fear. That is the horrible fear. You'll know a lot more before the season, but if he is on the Texans and there's any hint in the world that he's going to sit, there's no chance I take a quarterback this high. Even if, Deshaun is a very talented quarterback. We like his devil may care attitude. He tries hard, but yeah, I do not want a guy who's sitting on the bench.
After that, Chris Carson goes off. I'm scared of Chris Carson.
We'll see where Carson lands. The spot I've heard floated was the Buffalo Bills. He might get franchise tagged by Seattle.
The Carson truther. That's all right. Jamar Chase. I was probably going to take Jamar Chase here.
Nick likes Jamar. Talk about Jamar.
I like it a lot.
What's there to talk about? He's a stud. He's like Julio light.
There's so much to talk about. He's a rookie that people don't know yet, maybe. Again, our fans, obviously, the savvy crowd that they are, but
For sure. I wouldn't want him as my second wide receiver, ideally, in this scenario. But I think that's more so because
feel better with a third wide receiver.
I think it's more so I don't know where he is yet. I don't know where he's going to land.
So if you had to bet on a rookie to have a good rookie season as far as wide receivers, Jamar Chase would probably be the top pick, right?
I'm going to make this pick. I don't think it's too far outside of where he's probably going to go, but I'm going to take Javonte, another rookie. I believe in Javonte Williams. I wish I had 2 top 4 picks in the rookie draft this year because I think, depending on the situation, as always, Javonte Williams is sneaky elusive for his size, and I like how he plays. He plays athletic. He plays,
No, he looks tough. He looks strong.
He seems hyper excited every game.
Got decent hands.
Is just always moving. So I think he's going to be pretty tough to tackle at the next level.
Rookie tight end goes off the board. Kyle Pitts. So Kyle Pitts is a guy that's getting all kinds of hype as a tight end. Tight ends usually do take a little while to develop. But again, people believe in him.
I expect nothing from but this from Pocket. I think it's one of those calls. It's just like I've made it. This guy's going to be it. I'm buying the stock. He's going to be a thing. I'm not even worried about it. I'm just going to slot him in as my tight end, and we're going to be good.
Then we get Devontae Smith, another rookie wide receiver off the board. Melvin Gordon goes. Melvin's going to be back. He's going to miss a couple games probably for a DUI that popped up later, so we're expecting to probably be 2 games out. Zach Ertz goes at the 6'4". I'm concerned about Zach Ertz. We'll see if he's on the Eagles or not. I
don't know that I'm taking Zach Ertz here.
Wouldn't be shocked if he ends up on another team. Sure. But again, if he lands in a good spot, I think maybe you give Zach Ertz a look. He's going to be one that you're going to be able to buy a lot lower this year than what he went last year.
Right. Greg says DJ Moore was no fun to have last year. I believe in second chances. And Marcio says, I really am. I have him like every year. So about Chris Carson. So I get it. Redmond, all you have to do
Carson
is watch.
Was decent this year. He just wasn't.
Yeah, in the 3 games that he finished. All you have to do is watch Javonte's game against Miami to fall in love with him. If you watch all the top 12 prospects, just game tape, Javonte is the most fun to watch. I think he's just a very exciting player, and he seems to like what he does. All right, so my team's filling out here. I got 3 running backs. I only have 2 wide receivers so far. 2? 1. I have 1 wide receiver. So I need to go wide receiver most likely. Any surprise here that Trevor Lawrence is ahead of Kyler Murray on the...
Oh, this is absurd.
It's crazy, right?
It's just not even close. No, that's people that just are drafting early. Again, they're still working out, kind of getting their data pool, and that's no.
Yeah.
Maybe people have been doing other types of drafts. Maybe they've been doing super flex, like rookie drafts. I don't know if that bleeds into this.
All right, I'm taking CeeDee Lamb here.
I like it.
I think he's way too out on the rankings tiers here. I think it's not crazy that he finishes in the top 10 to 12 wide receivers this season. Murray Cooper could be on his way out potentially. Even still, I don't think he's Dak's first threat now that they have CeeDee Lamb. So I'm pretty excited about that. Gallup could be on the move as well. So CD, I think, is just going to have a larger target share. And even if you extrapolate, even if you take off some of the production he had in the first 4 games, if you divvy that out for the year, it's a very, very good season. Depending on where Waddle lands, I'm really intrigued. So
This is fun.
I've seen a lot of drafts actually, or mock drafters having Waddle go ahead of Devontae Smith in the actual NFL draft.
Yeah, I can see teams being concerned. We talked about it. Like, you're just worried about taking a guy real high who has, those intangibles, not the intangibles, but just those outliers. Again, he'd be the smallest wide receiver to be successful at that size.
The BMI just doesn't match up with
that's
the role.
concern. Again, if he could, put on 20 pounds and still be the same speed and have the same skills, people would be over the moon. He'd go probably at the third.
I like the argument that I'm not saying he can't be good. It's just somebody that's his size never has.
It's just first.
Never happened.
Again, he's got good height. He another thing is he's a senior coming out, so some people kind of read into that a little bit.
Right.
But he was behind good wide receivers, so that's part of the reason why he didn't break out as early as you would hope to see.
Marcio says she left AJ Green for me.
All right, we got somebody, Marcy, buying back in on Hollywood Brown. So for Baltimore, kind of did well at the end of the year. Again, I think people are going to again, guys like Lamar and Hollywood will be a little bit lower because they didn't come on until the end of the year. But if some of those people lose interest, they didn't watch those games.
Hollywood Brown has the athletic gifts, to be a high-end wide receiver. The problem is
he definitely let you down for a good chunk of the year.
He was given the hands of a defensive back and a quarterback that can't throw the ball. So it's just not a great combo there. But speed-wise, elusiveness-wise, separation from defender, he's phenomenal at those. He just can't, get the ball. Surprised Mike didn't hold out on tight end for CJ Uzomah.
I still got that last pick. I could probably grab him. All right, so Tyler Lockett goes off the board. That's one that I glanced at. But a guy that I want to see how it goes, the hype around him was real this year. DJ Shark. So I'm going to take him for the Jacksonville Jaguars, and Trevor throwing it to him if he can become his number one guy.
It feels like an all or nothing pick, doesn't it? He's going
to get the ball thrown to him.
You think so?
Oh, yeah. Again, he had some injuries this year that held him back. He had quarterbacks that were, he had Mike Glennon for a couple games.
I don't think it's
Minshew, who they didn't. I think Minshew's a better quarterback than people give him credit for, but they didn't want him to be great. They never liked him in that coaching regime.
But do you know what brought on DJ Shark was Minshew targeting DJ Shark? They obviously had a connection. It'll be interesting to see if, for some reason, if that translates over to Trevor Lawrence.
On a side note, if CJ Uzomah comes out and is the tight end one on the year, I don't know.
I think we just changed the show to the
the CJ Uzomah hour,
the Mike show.
Oh my gosh,
with junior co-host Nikki B.
I was just a year early, before my time.
Let's see here. He had Gluten. Yeah, Luton wasn't great either.
So, again, if he gets the number one prospect who's supposed to light the world on fire and be phenomenal, and he can be his number one wide receiver, I like it a lot. And he's shown good ability to find the end zone even when he was working with Gardner.
So, three running backs go off the board that wouldn't surprise me if they severely outperform their ADP. Ronald Jones, Kareem Hunt, Raheem Mostert.
Absolutely. So, those were basically the guys that were kind of the last three of that tier, and now it just is bleak. There's nobody you want to take to the dance anymore.
They were probably all three top. They're probably top 12 in points per game average, but they didn't play enough games or get enough snaps. There was something hampering all of them. But you can make the case for any of them to really be a high-end running back, probably.
Yeah, honestly, Ronald Jones have gotten dynasty. The breakout was coming. He looked good. Arians was starting to believe in him, which makes a lot of difference on that team. Like, Keyshawn Vaughn got no work because Bruce Arians hates rookies and just doesn't want to give them the ball, probably no matter how much he likes them.
Right.
But then he got the finger injury. Then he had the COVID, and it just shut it down. And then we came back, and Fournette came out, and he had a good season. If Fournette moves on and they just started with Rojo, Keyshawn Vaughn, and like nobody, I'm real high on Rojo. I'm going to be he'll shoot up the boards and people will be going after him. But even if it's only him and Leonard Fournette, I still like him as far as where he's going right now.
I think actually Fournette's a pretty good value and Ronald Jones is a pretty good value. I think I think Pocket took Fournette a little high from where he's actually going to go, but I don't hate Ronald Jones or Fournette in this group of running backs. I think he could easily outperform James Conner, David Johnson, Javonte Williams, Chris Carson. It wouldn't shock me at all. Not at all. Greg was hoping for Hunt to make it back to me. I get it. It's a pretty safe RB2 floor. Completely forgot about Sutton. I saw Sutton there as well. I really want to know who their quarterback's going to be. Todd Gurley redemption year, not on my team. Not on my team.
No, Todd Gurley's done. He's out. It's sorry. Not going to happen.
Okay, so let's say.
Hold on. I got something for this. So, yeah, no, if you're trying to speak Todd Gurley, maybe you got him on your dynasty team and you're trying to say, yeah, Todd Gurley, that's going to happen.
Stop trying to make fetch happen. It's not going to happen.
Todd Gurley, injury prone in garbage time now. This is that moment that happens in every draft where I wish I had taken more running backs early.
But so here, let's just real quick for the people watching on the YouTube, let's cover it. We got Myles Gaskin, who will likely be supplanted by another running back, Todd Gurley, who's old and done, Devin Singletary, who, again, Moss really hurt him. The two of them kind of handicap each other. If one of those guys goes down, the other could be usable, but it wouldn't shock me at all if Buffalo brings in another running back. Mark Ingram, not on a team right now. Le'Veon Bell, washed and done.
There's zero chance that Gaskin is the Dolphins running back this season. Zero chance.
1% chance.
Zero.
Marlon Mack out there. How does this affect Marlon Mack?
Done.
Jordan Howard, Matt Breida, Tariq Cohen, your guy. Oh, there's Nick's next pick.
But here, among these other options, tell me you don't like Tariq Cohen a little bit better than some of them.
Injury.
Cohen sucked.
Thank you, Andy.
I get it. But here's the thing. Todd Gurley sucks. Miles Gasson's not going to be the running back. Devin Singletary is on a team that doesn't even run the ball outside the quarterback slot. Mark Ingram's retired. Le'Veon Bell should have retired.
Le'Veon.
I like turtles.
Kenneth Gainwell, running back, we don't know where he's going yet. Jordan Howard had like 4 carries last year for 8 touchdowns somehow. Marlon Mack, hurt. Probably not going to be a thing. Matt Breida is just dead.
You're on the clock. Make your pick.
Tevin Coleman, I don't know how you don't like Tariq a little bit better than a lot of these options.
He's the worst.
Tony Pollard?
Cohen
rather
sucks.
Tony Pollard than
Yes.
Cohen?
Oh, Tony Pollard, starting running back for the Cowboys, going to overtake Zeke. Psyched. Thanks for pointing that out.
All right.
Next pick.
So Miles Gaskin goes to Marcio. Go figure. Tyler Boyd, Brandon Cooks, Cortland Sutton. All could be very good picks here. You and the Brandon Cooks hype continue on. True to form.
Yeah, no, there's definitely going to be a point where he's the number 1 wide receiver on that team. Don't know exactly who the quarterback is, but let's imagine it's Deshaun Watson. Will Fuller's on suspension. Could be completely out of town. Cooks has kind of stated that he doesn't want to go to another team. If he can be the number 1 wide receiver for Deshaun, had a lot of good games at the end of the year, was showing out. So I like Cooks.
Yeah, I think that's fine. Not excited about any of these running backs so far. Wide receivers are a little rough. Will Fuller, I guess I could take Will Fuller here.
Yeah,
and
going to miss a couple games, but Will Fuller, again, his situation will change. You'll know more by the time that it comes around to the actual draft that you're going to be doing. But Will Fuller looked really good when he was in. He didn't get an injury. He had a suspension, so that's worth taking into note. He's going to miss a couple more games. I want to say it's 2.
I believe that's correct.
Okay, so again, if you can make it through those first 2 weeks, then all of a sudden you get Will Fuller that you got in the 8th, and he is what he was last year.
It depends
It's
what
a
team he
great
goes
pick.
to.
But if he's not doing PEDs, is he going to get hurt? Like, that's the thing that you're going to hear about. He has a long
he'll
history
get
of
hurt.
being injured. Hamstrings that are actually made of string.
All right, so I took Deontay Johnson here with Juju gone. Deontay Johnson could get 20 targets a game.
Yeah, I like Deontay as a pick. He had some drop issues, but he was getting a lot of targets. Also, kind of, we'll see what the quarterback situation is. I think it'll be Big Ben for at least 1 more year, but we'll see what happens.
Following my pick, Trevor Lawrence, Todd Gurley, Rashad Bateman, Justin Herbert, as foretold. Pocket pool taking Justin Herbert to combo with Keenan Allen up there. I think it's a very good stack, and anybody would be happy to have it. Do you like Herbert going above Dak and Aaron Rodgers? Does that surprise you or bother you at all?
So Dak, again, there's a little bit of kind of back and forth about exactly if he'll be ready at the start of the season. If you're finding out that Dak's going to be back, week 1 or 2, I think Dak will go higher. No, again, right now where we're doing the draft, pick who you like, get a feel for just kind of.
Go figure. The computer stealing my guy, AJ Green. Don't even get a chance on it.
Take a drink.
Jarvis Landry. Going, what round is this? In the 8th round? You could pick worse. There's definitely worse picks.
I was watching a show, one of the podcasts, where they're talking about Jarvis Landry could be cut by the Browns just with the salary cap situation coming down. They've got him on a contract that's not super team friendly. So if he does get cut, I'd be concerned because it is tough for guys to go from one team to the other. But if he's back there this coming year, I think OBJ is going to fade away. I think that he really emerges as the number 1 wide receiver on that team. I think he's got good chemistry with Baker. So I kind of, I like him as far as just a good usable
Jarvis
piece.
to Green Bay says Bambo.
But Jarvis is like Robert Woods, just a guy that's always out there. You put him in, he gets points. Like, he doesn't goose you. He's just a good, solid, depth piece on a team.
I'm going to go a little unconventional again. Brandon Ayuk, the target monster.
I think it's a good pick.
We're late enough here in the draft where if Brandon Ayuk can capture that magic that he had in the last 4 or 5 games of the season where he was getting 14 to 16 targets a game, it was insane. Granted, it was without Kittle for a lot of it. Debo was out for most of it. But if that does stick, I think it's a huge value here in the 8th or 9th round when your other options are, Julian Edelman and, Devontae Parker. So, Greg, Ayuk equals steal. Again, I think in the 8th, I'm happy to have grabbed him. And did you see how far down the list he was? He was buried, absolutely buried. So, probably could have even snuck him a little later if I really wanted to.
Yeah, and for the purposes of this one, we will go ahead and kind of It's part of the draft strategy, and just if personally, if you want to wait on a guy, you don't want to reach down 100 spots down to get a guy you like, because you can likely get him a couple rounds later. But as we said, the draft kind of rankings right now, they're not spot on. They're not exactly what it's going to look like, but.
Yeah, no, I think that's absolutely correct.
I am also planning on reaching far down the list for my next player, so we'll see if it makes it back.
Yeah, that's all right. Still got a lot of quarterbacks up here available. Looks like how many teams have drafted a quarterback? I think this is a good time to even just do a double check on it. How many tight ends have been taken? How many quarterbacks have been taken? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 8 teams have quarterbacks. Your 9 team, Greg, and who else? Is that it? Nope, he got Lamar Jackson. So our 3 teams are the only ones without quarterbacks. You, me, and Greg. I think that's a little surprising.
Yeah, how you feeling about your team? I feel like I might have reached a round or two too early for Andrews, but other than that,
I feel pretty good about my team. I think there's definite potential.
So Marcy actually sniped the guy that I was looking down the list for, Chase Claypool, the other wide receiver for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And we talked about Juju likely won't be back. I think that Claypool is a great pick right there.
Interestingly enough, when we drafted earlier, I actually had the option to take Deontay Johnson and took Claypool over him. I did the opposite this time around. I don't hate either of them, and it's kind of a Woods Cup situation. I don't know which one's going to be the alpha and which one's going to be the B, but I think both will be valuable.
I like it,
especially with no other competition.
All right,
I don't think James Washington's gonna take over.
2 guys I'm staring down next. So
all right, we'll see what Jared does here. Let's see. Jared's got back to back wide or running back, and then almost back to back. Wide receiver with Amari Cooper, Tyler Lockett, and Tyler Boyd. Went the Tylers. So I think you're a little weak on wide receiver. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, I got 2 of them I'm staring at, so I'm going to get one of the 2.
Calvin, DJ Shark, Brandon Cooks.
I'll give you a hint. One of them was one of my guys this year, and the other one...
We're on to Cincinnati.
A Bengal.
All
right, so I'm going to take my guy. He was my sleeper and I might be able, again, another guy that if we waited just where they're at the rankings right now.
Pocket.
I'm going to throw out Robbie Anderson, wide receiver for the Carolina Panthers. Curtis Samuel, free agent's likely going to be out of there. He had a very good year. And Robbie, I did trade away in Dynasty, but I still think at this point in the draft, still a value. He got a ton of targets. They were using him in the slot more. He didn't have as many touchdowns as I hoped to. Had a couple at the beginning of the year, and you're thinking, oh, man, if he can keep this up. Sort of, kind of, he didn't disappear, but he just kind of didn't have that blow up and sustain that momentum. But if he can be there, they like throwing it to him. We'll see what the quarterback situation is. It should be Bridgewater at worst, somebody who they like better, Deshaun Watson at best. So I'll throw Robbie on the team.
So we saw Cortland Sutton go up here, and Jerry Jeudy is still on the board. Depending on quarterback, do you think it depends on the quarterback? Which one is the A and B, or do you think it's for sure one guy over the other?
Jerry Jeudy, I like his talent. Denver, I don't know what their situation is going to be at quarterback. Cortland Sutton coming back, I'm worried about him just eating target. I think they'll hurt each other.
Let's say it's Jameis Winston.
I would rather have Jeudy with the later round, the value of taking him later than I would rather have Cortland Sutton.
I get it. Let's see here. A.J. Dillon coming off the board. Banjo saying a little bit of a gamble on Dillon this early, but I don't know. I think A.J. Dillon is either being slept on or he's being overvalued. I don't know which it is.
Or he's being valued exactly correctly.
He's not being valued
it's
correctly.
One of the 3, right?
I don't think he's being valued correctly because I think he's either
What if he finishes in exactly that position?
He's got to be either useless or super useful. I don't see any
There's
way
a world in which he's like, Jamal Williams and him are the 2 guys, and he gets, the 2-headed monster kind of thing, and he's pretty good.
I don't know. I just don't think Drew Lock can sport 2 receivers for fantasy, says Redmond.
There's also a world in
Especially when Drew Lock loves Noah Fant.
There's also a world in which Jamal Williams goes off in free agency, and then they re-sign Aaron Jones, and it's, Dillon and Jones, which, again, it gives Dillon a bump, but he's still not probably
useless,
a world.
Useless. Did you use Williams at all this year? Because I didn't.
I do have him on my team. I stashed him just because I got Aaron Jones. I wanted the handcuff.
because you wanted to waste a
and I
roster
knew he was going to
spot.
be a free agent. I think he's actually a talented running back.
All right.
He's going high in these drafts.
I know I don't
Debo Samuel, that's a great pick there. That's a good value.
T. Higgins going off the board. The last pick of the 8th round, I think, is a very good value pick as well. T. Higgins with a healthy Burrow.
He was the
easily be top
Cincinnati
24.
player that I gave the drop for.
Yep. Nope. Loved it. Debo again could be the alpha there. We don't know. Completely quarterback dependent. If you are drafting now, and for some reason Deshaun Watson does end up with the 49ers, you're in a pretty good spot. All right, you're on the board. 420 left.
Staring at Dak Prescott.
I get it. I thought about
is he going to be back? Is he going to be healthy?
Thought about going quarterback here.
Yeah, let's take Dak. Dak had a monster, start of the year. I still think their defense is going to be bad. I still think all their offensive pieces are really good.
Right.
Maybe they get that tight end back, who I always forget his name.
I think the craziest stat was still at the end of the year, 3 of the top 5 passing yardage performances were Dak Prescott, who didn't play past.
And again,
week 4.
still the 9th round. You could probably wait longer and get a usable quarterback with your last pick. But Dak, if I can get the ceiling that he had this year at the 9th round, it's just a game changer.
Well, I think this is the point in the draft where I think it's less useful for the mock, because depending on where a lot of these rookies go and the positioning, this is where I'm just loading up on them. Just as many high-end lottery tickets that I can get, I'm buying in on. You got Javonte with the Cardinals. Okay, I don't know if he's going to go in the top 5 rounds, but I'd take him in the 5th, 6th, 7th for sure. So without landing spots for some of these guys, I mean, Curtis Samuel, if he goes to the Packers, I mean, that's another one that bounces way up. So we're definitely going to have a little bit of change, especially in this area of the draft. Greg saying Higgins will be a top 15 wide receiver this year. He is a Higgins homer now that
sounds like Burrow might not be back that first game. We'll see. Again, if they take an offensive lineman with their high picks, I feel a lot better about that whole team. But if they get an injured Burrow back, he gets smashed up again because their line's bad. Joe Mixon is old and washed, right? So he'll AJ Green out of town. He was the secret weapon on that team that made the offense go. Take a drink. Rondale Moore truther there. So Rondale Moore is actually one that I'm not a fan of as far as the guys going in the first round of the rookie drafts. Those little wide receivers that
just not feeling it.
Oh, everybody's like, he's the next Tyreek Hill. He's the next Tyreek Hill. And none of them are the next Tyreek Hill. They're all Marquise Brown or Henry Ruggs. And I just could see a world where he gets taken highly in the draft, shoots up the boards, and is that type of guy.
I'm actually surprised how many actually pretty decent tight ends are still left. You still have Hawkinson left on the board. You have Higbee with no Gerald Everett, it sounds like.
That's a good one.
You got Austin Hooper, which if you're a believer, that becomes anything. I'm not. Noah Fant, I think, is a pretty good value down here at 134.
Injuries, people concerned about the quarterback there.
I'm not concerned about the quarterback because his first read is Noah Fant, it seems like.
That's a good point.
Gesicki's still on the board. There's still a lot of good tight ends. I don't hate my Evan Ingram is still on here as well.
Ooh, I like Evan Ingram. So even if
and Gronk,
I don't hate having 2 tight ends if you didn't get one of those elite guys like Ingram.
I thought about doubling up. I just don't think it's Marcio. Who you taking here? Who are you taking? We've been drafting for 40 minutes and 15 of it's been Mark. I'm just kidding.
Don't rush her, man.
I'm just kidding. Don't panic pick. And she panic picked. Le'Veon Bell coming off the board.
Oh no!
I like turtles.
Oh man, that's all right. Aaron Rodgers
Is he even going to be in the NFL?
Maybe. I probably was going to take Aaron Rodgers here if he got to me. The computer.
It's interesting.
Computer jumped me. They weren't confident in Justin Fields apparently.
You done messed up, Aaron.
Let's see.
Messed up Aaron.
Greg said if I had known Hawkinson would still be available in the 9th round, I definitely would not have drafted Kittle.
I made that point that
sure.
As the app has it right now, he is way too low. I completely agree. I think Hawkinson's a lock for 100 targets this year. A lot has to shake out with their wide receiving core, but he's gonna get action. They're gonna throw it to him. They like him. He's got good talent. Had a couple big games. Had a lot of just medium games. Was the tight end 5 on the year.
They still have Drew Brees, the retiree, above all these other quarterbacks. But now that we're in this quarterback stage, I mean, I don't see a whole lot of difference.
Just the respect on the name.
Put some respect on it.
I mock draft. The draft doesn't mock me. I like it.
I don't know. The draft is mocking you right now.
Oh, no.
I'm just kidding. I'm not kidding. that's okay. So got Madison on here. Chuba, your boy Chuba is still available.
He was a guy I was looking at. Again, a lot will be depending on the landing spot, but I do like Chuba. I think, he's got great speed. So the knock is he doesn't have good hands and he can't pass block. And I think you can improve your pass blocking. It is tough for some of those guys to just kind of be more natural with their catching. Your boy, hand the guy the ball. He had so many big plays where you just, get through the line and he was off and nobody could catch him.
Right. Okay. I'm going to take the targets and Jerry Jeudy right here, I think. When 4 back-to-back wide receivers, a lot of youngins, actually 3 sophomores with CeeDee Lamb, Brandon Ayuk, and Jerry
Little
Jeudy.
tight end run there. So Ingram, Brevin Jordan, who is another rookie. He was a guy that was actually, I heard kind of in their early college careers, was kind of more highly touted than Pitts, who's going as the number 1 tight end off everybody's board. So interesting. I like Brevin if you can get him late in a rookie draft.
You have Freiermuth too.
Gronk
right?
the Gronk.
I would think Hockenson would go round 5 or 6 this year. I'm interested because
7.
I don't think this was crazy, and we're still missing a couple pieces depending on the landing spot.
He was another one kind of like Josh Jacobs, where he had a lot of just decent games. Where then if you look at kind of his positioning at the end of the year, but the average isn't phenomenal. It's good. It's not great.
All right,
Marlon Mack gets chosen in this draft, which is interesting. So we'll see if Marlon Mack finds himself a team.
Yep, we got about 10 more minutes to get this draft.
You're up, speed
so let's speed it up here. I don't have a quarterback. Might as well go quarterback here. Matt Ryan could be a thing. Tom Brady,
good year for Matt.
Matty Stafford.
Tom Brady had some great games.
You know what?
The GOAT.
I'm doing it. Matty Stafford.
Woof. Oh, no. What did you do? Here we go.
You are so dumb. You are really dumb.
We're in a situation where we're probably streaming quarterback anyway. So might as well go with my guy to just add the salt onto Mike's feelings of the man.
So this is from Nick to me.
I find your lack of faith disturbing.
It's true. It's true. Let's see here. So Hawkinson's still available. Actually, Hunter Henry is available. Hayden Hurst.
So we don't know Henry's landing spot, but he's a good tight end. He's had a lot of injury issues, so keep that in mind.
Noah
Hawkinson
Fant
does go right before my pick. I'm fine with that.
Actually, Dallas Goedert. I mean, Hurts and Goddard, you believe in that combo? What about Tanyan? Tanyan's still on here. If they don't draft anybody, I'm going to take Tanyan here if he's still available.
Go for it.
I think Bambo's going to snag him. But
all right, I'm taking my guy Chube. I like the Chubes. We'll see where he lands.
Okay.
But I'm psyched to see how he looks in the NFL. Could be a total bust, but could be a guy that breaks off giant runs for touchdowns.
Chat's just waiting for Burrow to go. The Tiger King. Speaking of Tigers, hope Tiger Woods is not too seriously injured. Did you hear this?
I did not.
Tiger
no.
Woods, car accident in surgery.
Oh, sorry about that, Tyler.
Bambo, as expected. Robert Tanyan. So did you not realize who's available still? Because I would have taken him a lot earlier. Not a lot earlier.
And so I realized that Jerry Jeudy went at the in the 9th round, 9-8. So
This is Judge Judy.
that's pretty late. If I could get him in the 9th.
I was pretty happy to get Brandon
You
Ayuk
take a
and Jerry
step forward.
Jeudy 8 and 9. Pretty happy with that.
Yeah, I like Ayuk.
Here's the thing. I think it's just massive picks. 2 of these 4 guys will end up being pretty useful for fantasy. I don't really have any fear in that. Can I guarantee you which one of the 4? Yes, CeeDee Lamb will be.
Marcy's been paying attention to the Tiger situation. Said that the injuries are not life-threatening. Hopefully it doesn't ruin what's left of his golf
legs.
career.
It said lower body. Leg injury and surgery.
You need your legs for golf.
You do. But he's been playing golf with no back for like 4 years now. So, all right. So we're making the turn here into the 11th. He's had like 8 fusion surgeries.
I won't make my Tiger lower body jokes.
Yeah, don't do it. All right. So Corey Davis here. Pocket just trying to make all the sneaky picks. Jameson Crowder, Jarvis Landry, going for the value guys. Corey Davis could be a thing. There's a scenario where Corey Davis goes to a team with a good quarterback and ends up being a very good wide receiver too.
Great success.
He's having leg surgery. Was probably hopped up on pills again. He had another back surgery like a month and a half ago. I'm expecting we'll hear a report that he was a little.
So Devontae Parker
impaired.
going in the 11th round. What are your thoughts on Devontae? There, he could become he had a good year and then he kind of disappeared. Had some injury kind of things.
Heard no evidence of intoxication. That's great news. I hope there's none, but I think everybody's expecting. What do you think about Harris at 11-2? Yeah, What was your question? Sorry, I feel like.
So anyway, let's cover Harris. So Damian Harris got a lot of hype in the preseason this year. Had some injuries. That whole team was kind of a mess. Cam was running in all the touchdowns. If they can get a quarterback that's not going to run in all the touchdowns, you imagine they go to Damian Harris or Sony Michel.
When besides James White, who caught passes, when is
it hasn't been good?
No,
but it could be. Yeah. No.
In the 11th round,
maybe
11th round, maybe. Damian Harris has shown flashes of what I think to be a pretty good running back, but it just seems to be a mess of a team right now. We'll see how quick their transition is back to maybe relevancy. Didn't notice any type of okay. We're off the Tiger talk now. I do hope he's okay though. Okay, so Devontae Parker, like you were mentioning, he's had one good year out of 7. He's the opposite of Mike Evans.
Yeah, I'm gonna avoid him, but there's a chance.
Saying there's a chance. All right, rapid fire your pick. Who's it going to be?
Well, let's see here. We got.
Oh man, do you have a tight end yet?
I do. I took Mark Andrews a little high. I'm going to go with another rookie. Amon-Ra St. Brown. He's a guy that we actually did a rookie mock draft for the first round of rookies going off. We had him at the end of our draft. So if you want to check that one out on our YouTube channel, again. Don't forget to subscribe if you're watching us on Twitch or follow us on Twitch, subscribe on YouTube. But I would take Amon-Ra St. Brown.
You've been hyped on him.
I like his physicality. I like kind of the story of his family. Like they've just been born and bred to be NFL players. His dad's Mr. Universe. His mom speaks German to the kids. They know 3 languages.
You didn't say that they've been bred into being very good football players.
His brother plays for the Packers. He hasn't been a phenomenal player. He gets a little bit of time, but it's Equinemius St. Brown. But
it is. His brother sucks. That's great. He is a Packer, so there's already a certain level of suckage that's just attached to
I'm around getting a little more hype, and
Marcio posting the Discord link. Great call on that. If you are not part of our Discord and want to be a part of our next draft potentially,
yep. So we
join
just chat in there, talk about the breaking NFL news, post funny memes and or GIFs, and again, we'll also post the links to when we're doing the draft, so you can get an early spot and pick your place.
Indeed. All right, let's see who our last few picks are here. Jamal Williams coming off the board to Jared at the 11-5.
I'm curious to see what happens with him. I've got him in Dynasty. I think he could go somewhere and be very useful for a year if I can flip him after he has a flash.
Yeah, no, I don't hate taking a stab here at potential openings. I mean, Jamal Williams could get 60% of the work depending on.
I did see. I think it was a report today saying he wants to be a Packer. Continue to be. Which a lot of guys say that about. Of course, they want to make money. They're on. However, again, a lot of people are getting hyped for AJ Dillon breaking out. If I'm drawing a blank. If
Aaron Jones?
Aaron Jones. There you go. Thank you. I was kept thinking Adrian Peterson in my head. I had the A. If and when Aaron Jones takes off, everybody thinks that AJ Dillon's going to get the giant bump. But maybe if Jamal Williams resigns, he gets more work than people realize.
More flaming to Marcio. That's okay. Blame the Texas internet. Yeah, hopefully everybody in Texas is safe right now.
Yeah, it's just frozen solid.
I know some of the people that play video games with, their power's been going on. So
one of the guys that does the Fantasy Flock, one of the shows I like to watch, kind of a more kind of our level, just smaller streamer as far as fantasy football. He lives in Texas and is talking about how he had to find new internet and the water. They had to boil the water, and it
sounds awful.
We have 38 inches of snow a night, and we're still here. We're still doing the podcast
for sure. All right,
it's 80 here. Warwick says, "Oh God, it sounds lovely."
All right. I took a couple of my guys. So I took Tyreek Cohen just to spite you, and then I took Gabriel Davis here in the 12th.
Cohen sucks.
Gabriel Davis I like, though. Gabriel Davis could get more involved if John Brown moves on. Beasley's getting old.
So Pocket meant to take Damian Williams, not Darrell Williams from Kansas City.
Darrell, all right.
Easy mistake.
You blew it.
Yeah. So after Jamal Williams, we got Henry Ruggs, Tylan Wallace, Tyreek Cohen, Matt Breida.
I made a mistake.
That's right.
Jordan Howard, Matt Ryan, Darrell Williams. Supposedly
if you were in the Discord, you saw that Pocket said he was going to have a couple drinks to clear his mind for this draft. Might have had one too many.
There you go. That's all. It only says D. Williams. I get it. It could have been any of them. Young Hoku here at the turn. Kadarius Toney, Hunter Henry, Tom Brady. I snagged Gabriel Davis here at the 12-5. Latavius Murray going right after that. And Marcio with her 10 minutes before picking next. Some interesting picks. A couple more rookies. First kicker goes off the board. Mason Crosby, the second kicker. Mason Crosby, good for 12 in a row, or actually good for 12 in a row, in or out. Somehow he can make 30 straight kicks and then all of a sudden miss his next 10 in a row.
So I'm gonna go ahead and take my kicker. I like Harrison Butker for Kansas City. They score a lot of points. He's a good kicker.
Jalen Reagor going maybe a little hype around Reagor this year. J-Jaw is probably pretty much done.
He could
Jackson
emerge as the
gone.
number one wide receiver for the Eagles,
Alshon
which I know
Jeffrey
you
gone.
don't value at all. But again, anytime you can get the number one on a team, we'll see what the quarterback situation. If Hurts if he's just straight out the guy and they stick with him.
Yeah, we're still on a pretty strict no Eagles
they
policy.
could draft a quarterback. They could add to their line, which will help things. Maybe Ertz is out of there, so that opens up some targets. There's a world in which Reagor is good. He was taken highly in the NFL draft. A lot of people liked him before the draft. He was, one of the guys that they talked about being a little raw, so maybe he develops a little bit. He had some injuries. He was tough too. He came back from those injuries, so you got to respect that.
Sure.
I can just hear you be like, no,
not interested. Nope.
But if you can get him late, it's a great late round flyer.
Sure. Okay, so there's an interesting situation here, right? So we have the Buffalo Bills. They had probably a top 5 scoring offense, I'd have to imagine. I haven't looked it up, but probably pretty close. And we're not interested in either of their running backs. I think Singletary went like the 6th round, and Zach Moss is going here in the 12th. They just weren't very good. They didn't run the ball. They didn't run it effectively. I haven't heard any hype on one of them coming out or both of them coming. It's just everybody's just full out. No, they should just grab another running back. Chris Carson, I think, it makes a good fit for them, and maybe he can get hurt, and then we can go back to them. But no, they just weren't good. And Zach Moss, I had some hope for. I took him in a lot of drafts, and he just didn't break out. Had some little injury kind of things. Pretty good pick here. Christian Kirk and then Antonio Brown. Really like those back-to-back picks. Yeah, I like Christian Kirk as a possible breakout this year. Right. Larry Fitzgerald, I don't think it's been official that he's retired yet, but it's likely that he retires and isn't back with them. Either way, I think both of them, I don't think any of them are going to end up being your wide receiver 1 or 2, but some bye-week flex opportunities are, I think, really good options for both. But a good note about Zach Moss, if you can, in the 12th round, get a starting running back for a team who's probably going to get the goal line work on a team that scores a lot of points. Like, again, Josh Allen takes away because he'll run the ball in, but it's a great 12th round. I just threw up in my mouth. Just get that running back depth. People were just clamoring for Zach Moss this year when all the other running backs went down. All right, so I'm on the board. Darnell Mooney coming off the board. Ryan Tannehill coming off the board. So I'm going to take a defense. I like the Washington football team's defense a lot. I think that just they get after the quarterback. Not the Buccaneers with the stacked defensive line. I like the Buccaneers as well, but I think that Washington just they get sacks. I like that. They do. Let's see. Jared's up next. Looks like he hasn't taken a kicker or defense. So Tampa Bay Buccaneers coming off the board. Marcio going to go with the Packers defense, probably just be the homer through and through. No, thank you. No. Not for me. I didn't mean to take Perriman. Mooney. All right. Well, you got Mooney. It's fine. Here we go. You meant to take Mooney before Perriman? Let's go, Mooney. All right. Go Bears! The number 1 wide receiver for the Chicago Bears. I think Mooney's got very good hands, very good route running. He's just undersized, and we don't have quarterback. Yeah, they'll have to find another wide receiver 1 too. He's not a number 1. I think. What would you compliment Darnell Mooney to? Give me a comp. A comp. Let's see. Tyler Lockett? No, he's not as good as Tyler Lockett. Like a sure-handed kind of guy. I want to say like James Washington on the Steelers, but we'll see. We'll see what he develops into. He showed a lot more than a lot of people expected this year. He wasn't a guy I'd heard a lot about before the draft. Bears fans were kind of scratching their heads on that pick, needed some line help. But he did. He was a pleasant surprise. Kmet, he ended up playing pretty well. As far as guys that they took, at least they didn't come out and just, Shaheen and Kevin White. Yeah, they were out there. They were playing. They looked good. It's just like maybe we could have used those picks for other places on the team. All right, so as we round out the kickers and defenses, how do you feel about your team overall for this one? All right, so let me read them off real quick. I got Derrick Henry, Austin Eckler, Calvin Ridley, David Montgomery, Mark Andrews, DJ Shark, Brandon Cooks, Robbie Anderson, Dak Prescott, Chuba Hubbard, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Harrison Butker is my kicker. Washington football team is my defense. I have 1 pick left. Actually, I think I can show teams here if I move our camera. Yeah, no, honestly, I feel pretty good about it. If I have a weakness, it's wide receiver. Definitely going to need, Shark or Cooks or Robbie, one of those 3 guys to kind of, hit their ceiling and not their floor. Right. All right, so they're upside guys. Am I slowing things down now? I am taking a kicker. Justin Tucker's available. Why not? I wish Justin Tucker didn't kick outside, but beggars can't be choosers. All right, so yeah, I think you have top end running back talent for sure. Calvin Ridley's stud most weeks. DJ Shark question mark. Mark Andrews question mark. David Montgomery, I'm not a believer, but I mean he was a top 10 running back, so I can't knock him too much. And I think you definitely have a little bit of wide receiver depth. Chuba, I think you're maybe going to be hurting at running back here, but.
Well, again, I loaded up at the start trying to get good guys.
Yeah.
So I got between Henry, Eckler, and Montgomery, if they can all stay healthy. But again, only having 4, you're definitely at the risk. If 1 or 2 go down, you're
for sure.
So here's another guy with my last pick. This is after I took a kicker in the defense. Sterling Shepard, wide receiver for the Giants, had some injuries this year, but I actually like him a lot, especially with the last pick in your draft. I think that he could definitely still get work.
Okay, let's
Golden's gone.
Let's go through these teams in 3 minutes and pick your favorite one. All right, we'll start with your team. Dak Prescott, Derrick Henry, Austin Eckler, Calvin Ridley, DJ Shark, Mark Andrews, Dave Montgomery. Pretty solid. I like your roster, and I think that's going to be pretty competitive there. Let's see. Sleeping Giant, Kyler Murray, Christian McCaffrey, Clyde Edwards, DK, Terry, Robert Woods, Noah Fant for the tight end. And then he's got Ronald Jones, T. Higgins, A.J. Dillon, Christian Kirk, and Antonio Brown. It's a pretty deep roster.
Yeah, I like it. If Clyde Edwards-Helaire can take a step forward, you're a little worried about Terry if they bring in another wide receiver, his volume going down. DK, there are a couple, he looked phenomenal for a stretch there, but there's a little bit of talk that there's going to be a lot more running work. Right. Their running backs right now as they sit, could be not guys that are going to support that. Noah Fant I'd be a little worried about.
And with Ronald Jones on the bench, he should provide you some RB2 value there, even if Clyde doesn't work out. So, yeah, no, I think you're in pretty good shape. If Terry can get some more touchdowns and DK can be a little bit more consistent towards the back end of the year, I think you got a pretty good squad there on your hands. Let's go to my roster now. Matty Stafford.
Oh, the giant gaping hole. What have you done?
I know. You can't even find the right drop for it.
Disappointed! You blew it!
Sorry.
All right.
It is what it is. JT, Cam Akers, Justin Jefferson, CeeDee Lamb, Darren Waller, Javonte Williams. But really, I got Deontay Johnson, Brandon Ayuk, Jerry Jeudy, Tariq Cohen, and Gabriel Davis. So
Cohen sucks.
I couldn't take one of those high-end running backs because I had a later pick in the first. But I feel like I got a lot of depth, and I have some upside.
Again, my worry with your team would be Akers if he goes down, you're in trouble. You got a lot of sophomore players, which is interesting. I like your wide receiver depth with Johnson, Ayuk, Jerry Jeudy. I think those are all real high upside kind of.
And if Javonte goes to Miami, Arizona, Steelers, Falcons, any of those,
your team could look a lot better depending on his landing spot.
And honestly, I might not be able to get him where I took him.
Tucker, 49ers, again, that's not something to sleep on. Great kicker, really defense that could really show out this year.
And it's positions that I don't really have to stream. I can not worry about them. So I don't have to worry about week in, week out Waller, Justin Tucker, 49ers.
Greg likes your pick.
Thanks.
Bambo.
Thanks,
I messed up and took Perryman. So
no defense for him. That's right. Speaking of Bambo, let's look at his team. Josh Allen, Saquon, Miles Sanders, Stephon Diggs, Cooper Kupp, Robert Tonyan, OBJ, and then he got Hunt, Fuller, Gallup, Harris, Perriman on the bench here, and Mooney. So
I like his bench better than a lot of the starters. I like Josh Allen. Again, a lot of these guys are guys I'm avoiding. Saquon I'm avoiding. Miles Sanders I'm avoiding. I like Diggs. Cooper Kupp, I think, where he was going in this draft is a good pick.
He's got some injury concerns too.
There could be a lot of regression where his touchdowns come down for Tonyan. We'll see if they add a wide receiver because I also think that hurts Tonyan.
But again, let's assume health like we've assumed for other teams already. Miles Sanders a pretty decent floor. Saquon Barkley pretty high floor. Stephon Diggs probably the highest floor behind Devontae Adams, I think, among wide receivers. Cooper Kupp pretty high floor.
Two starting running backs are on rough teams. That would be a concern for me.
They are, but they've shown they can be productive. And
Giants and Eagles.
I know.
Woof.
I don't hate it. It's not a team that I'd be comfortable rolling into the season with, but I wouldn't be excited to face it in season either. All right. Gregor.
Yeah, Tannehill, he mentioned in the chat that Tannehill's been a guy that's helped him win championships. I like Tannehill. He's been very consistent. He's got good efficiency. Dalvin Cook, again, real high ceiling. He could be the running back one on the end of the year. Wouldn't surprise me. ETN, going with the rookie. ETN I have a little bit of concern about, but he should get good draft capital. He should be somewhere where they want to use him. A.J. Brown, DJ Moore, those are two young guys that are consistent. They're good. Kittle. I like that team a lot, actually.
But again, he paid up for George Kittle, so he was going to take a hit somewhere. So he ended up taking a hit. Depending on where Travis Etienne goes, he took a hit a little bit at running back and a little bit at wide receiver too. But DJ Moore, Teddy Bridgewater seems unhappy. He kind of unfollowed everybody from the Panthers, unfollowed his teammates. So he seems pretty disgruntled there for Carolina. Yeah. So a new quarterback, if it's Deshaun Watson or Fitzpatrick or Winston, DJ Moore could have a completely different season than last year where he wasn't really the go-to guy.
Yep.
So, yeah, no, I think it's a pretty high floor team again. Dalvin Cook, if he gets the work and stays healthy like the beginning of last year, I mean, he can just carry your team as is. A.J. Brown, what I like about your team is the upside. I mean, A.J. Brown and Dalvin Cook could combine for 100 points any given week. So, pretty good roster there. We already looked at your team, Mike. Let's check out Jarrett's team.
The championship squad.
Yeah.
I like Derrick Henry on my team, but I just see the picture. Probably, Derrick, he's going to give me 1,000 points. He's a tank.
All right, Jared, let's see it. Deshaun Watson, Alvin Kamara, J.K. Dobbins, Amari Cooper, Tyler Lockett, T.J. Hawkinson, Najee Harris, and then on the bench we got Boyd Jones, Rondale Moore, Jamal Williams, Jalen Reagor. Your team scares me.
This is exactly the kind of team I would draft. Like a lot of these guys are guys that I like Kamara, I like Dobbins, I like Cooper. Tyler Lockett hurt me a little bit last year, but I'm a little out on him. Hawkinson, I like. I think there's a lot of good value picks.
It doesn't take much for any of these guys to scare me. Alvin Kamara, no breeze. J.K. Dobbins, not the number one running back because it's
This is a
Lamar
team
Jackson.
where like you could dominate all year and just get 4 points in your final. They just all decide to disappear.
Murray Cooper, you got to worry about the other team's health, and Murray Cooper disappears sometimes. He was a pretty solid wide receiver too, but he's your wide receiver one. Tyler Lockett disappears at games at a time. T.J. Hawkinson, I'm fine with. Najee Harris in a good spot, sure, but you pick Najee Harris at 3-5, assuming he goes to the Steelers or
I think it'll go up when we do
Falcons.
the actual one.
You definitely are just overloaded at wide receiver or running back.
Redman has nailed it. My team is the team that scores the most points in the league and misses the playoffs. That's exactly how I feel about that team.
I get it. All right, who can we look at next? We got Marcio and then Pocket for the finish.
We'll close with the Pocket.
Yeah.
Closing he was the end of the draft, so.
Yep.
Russell Wilson taken way too high. What are you doing? Oh my gosh.
I feel like we got more of like a feel-good team here. We got Russell Wilson, Antonio Gibson, Chris Carson, Adam Thielen, Marquise Brown, Travis Kelce, Myles Gaskin, Claypool, Bell, James White, Ruggs, Alexander Madison. This is the team that finishes the last.
You know why she wins? Travis Kelce just comes out and is better than everybody.
Honestly,
he scores 30 points a game.
Very well could be. I mean, you could essentially have Antonio Gibson, Thielen, Kelce all finish in the top 12 point scorers.
Definitely.
Not outside of the realm of possibilities.
And if Marquise showed up, Chris Carson again. I think he's a solid play.
I don't love the roster.
I like Travis Kelce. I think that was a great first round pick.
Yeah. No, any roster with Travis Kelce, I'm not going to hate on too much. I think Adam Thielen could regress here. Antonio Gibson, I like as my one running back, but he doesn't catch any passes, so 0.5 PPR.
And this is a minor note, but I believe she took the kicker and defense from the same team, which Oh, no, I thought she took the Packers defense, but that's something I try to avoid just because of the bye weeks. Like,
I like her confidence. My next team will be better, maybe.
This is way too early. We're just learning. We're just figuring it out. No, we like you. We like having you on here, Marcy.
Just goofing. All right, so pocket pool rounding us out here. Justin Herbert, the stack with Keenan Allen, along with Josh Jacobs, DeAndre Swift, Julio Jones, aforementioned Keenan Allen, Kyle Pitts, Leonard Fournette, and then a couple depth pieces here. Jarvis Landry, Crowder, Davis, Darrell Williams, who was supposed to be Damian Williams.
Who did he get at kicker?
And Sammy Watkins. He got Young Hoku. This is a pretty formidable team. This is a team that I would like to put together.
So again, I think if Josh Jacobs and DeAndre Swift, I think the running backs worry me a little bit. Julio Jones, I think that, we'll see if he's healthy for the whole year or not. I wouldn't shock me if he misses time. Keenan Allen, I like a lot. Kyle Pitts, might take him a while to develop. Let's see, scroll down. So I like some of the depth pieces. We'll see where Crowder, if he's on the Giants, if he's on the Jets. I like Jarvis Landry. Corey Davis, I like, is a good depth piece. Sammy Watkins, again, I don't know if he just auto-drafted that last one.
Yeah, he even put it in here. I just took Sammy Watkins for the first game.
Just to add the weird to your team.
But do you know what I like here?
What do you like,
Josh
Nick?
Jacobs is the go-to on offense. DeAndre Swift should be the go-to on offense. Julio Jones, if healthy, I think will be hyper-targeted. Keenan Allen, offense runs through Keenan Allen.
They should get work, which is very important.
He's got a lot of guys where the teams need them to perform. So I like the opportunity for the guys on the roster here. I don't really have a question mark about their role in their offense, which makes me feel a lot more comfortable. I think there's a lot of consistency here. So, yeah, very good job there. Alrighty, anything else you want to say before we wrap it up here? Chat, any last questions?
Oh, thank you all very much for joining us.
It was a lot of fun
with it. We'll do it again sometime, but
maybe we can fill up the whole thing the next time. Well, the next one may be a real draft for the community league.
Definitely. So, hopping on the Discord. If you want to go onto the YouTube channel and just, do a quick like, that helps us out. We like that.
Absolutely.
And we very much appreciate it. Had a good time. Thank you all for joining.
Absolutely. I mean, we still got 8 people in here?
Job's done.
We got a pretty accurate idea of where
That's
people
all
are.
right. We had to hear them they had to hear us flame their teams.
Right. And if you are watching us on YouTube, don't forget to subscribe, follow, comment, all that good stuff. So, alrighty. Thank you very much, and we'll see you on the next one.
Yep. Take it easy.
See ya.